Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. I'm very excited to talk to you about something that's been on my mind for the past year. This is the incident that started it all. Of course, I'm referring to Carolyn Burjoski's library book review delegation that happened on January 17th, 2022. This was the first time I've heard of these books, and I started looking more into what is happening in our schools and what kind of resources our kids are being exposed to. So during this delegation, Carolyn brings two books up before she gets canceled, and I'm going to talk to you about these books and give you a little bit more information about it. So Carolyn is currently in a legal battle with the Waterloo District School Board because of this, and they did defame her. And you can support Carolyn as she is trying to battle the school board and come back so she can finish her presentation. This is very important because this will set a precedent that parents are allowed to share their concerns during school board meetings. This is exactly what delegations are for, and that human rights, freedom to speak, need to be protected. So link in the description, and I encourage you to support her. So let's have a quick look at the video, and I'm going to give you my reaction, my opinion, what I think about this. It's going to be pretty straightforward. The video of the delegation is not that long because, of course, it stops early. So let's have a quick look and see what it's all about.
My white screen there with the presentation and the date?
I can see your white screen, and your 10 minutes starts now.
All right. Good evening, Director Chanika, senior leaders, and valued trustees of WRDSB. My name is Carolyn Burjoski, and I've been teaching English to new Canadians in this school board for over 20 years. Like most teachers, I focus on my own classroom, and I don't pay close attention to what's happening at the Ed Center. However, I'm becoming increasingly concerned with the decisions that are being made at this level, and that's what brings me here tonight. A recent Record article reported on the school board's intent to cull both the libraries and teachers' personal collections of books deemed harmful. This culling was already underway at the time the article was written, yet the board could not answer the reporter's request for the criteria being used, nor how the team was chosen. No information was shared with teachers about the philosophy by which our personal collections would be judged. In the same article, a senior leader...
All right. Once again, the Waterloo District School Board isn't being very transparent on the reasoning behind their choices. In the open letter that they put out after I did my delegation, they have stated that there is a big process that all these library books go through to get approved. And of course, I'm wondering, how are these books getting through and who is approving these books? Of course, there's no information about this. Parents are just assured that these books are appropriate, and we got to trust the process. So let's have a look, continue with the video, and see what the problem is over here.
He said he was proud of the new diverse books that the board had already purchased. On November 8th, we received a memo in which the board listed criteria for removing books. For example, a book that is misleading might be removed. Well, that sounds perfectly reasonable. A case could be made that some of your new diverse materials are indeed misleading.
It's only misleading one way, as it turns out, and you're going to see what I mean. Because if anybody brings any attention to the appropriateness of these books, it's going to be the phobia card, it's going to be the race card, it's going to be you're against minorities card. And to be honest, these excuses, they're just not good enough. It's enough with this. So let's just see exactly what these books are that Carolyn's talking about. Let's have a look and continue.
We teachers received a long list of books and resources for Transgender Awareness Week. Some of these books are a positive addition because they show diverse families and represent a variety of ethnicities. However, I am very concerned that some of the resources in our elementary school libraries are inappropriate for young children. The resources that I am now showing are all in...
When I heard these books are in K-6 libraries, I just couldn't believe it. This really triggered a personal investigation into what kind of books are in our libraries and what kind of books are being selected and deemed as appropriate. Of course, in the video description, I will put a link to these books and other books so you can read for yourself and judge if these books are indeed appropriate. Now, Barnes & Noble rates these books between age 8 to 12 reading level. And like Carolyn said, these books are kindergarten to grade 6. That's right, they're available. Kindergarten, what is that, like grade age 5, 6? It's pretty concerning to have books like this. And, you know, I always think, is the school really running out of ideas for books to put into libraries and have to kids? I don't remember dealing with this stuff when I was in school, but suddenly, you know, it's very sexualized, lots of books, very empowering, lots of celebration, and we'll see what Carolyn has to say about this, because a lot of the thoughts that I have, she's gonna bring up these points. So let's continue over here and see what she has to say.
In the book Rick by Alex Gino, a boy named Jeff keeps talking to Rick about naked girls. Rick is confused because he doesn't think about naked girls, so he wonders if something's wrong with him. Rick gets invited to the school's Rainbow Club, and he ends up declaring an asexual identity. While reading this book, I was thinking, maybe Rick doesn't have sexual feelings yet because he is a child.
That's a very good point. How are kids expected to disclose their sexuality, have knowledge of their sexual preference, what they like sexually, who they prefer, if they have no experience? And if a kid is able to say, this is my sexual preference, this is my sexual orientation, I am wondering what is going on with that kid and what has triggered this response. So let's keep going and have a look.
It concerns me that this book leaves young boys wondering if there is something wrong with them if they aren't thinking about naked girls all the time. Well, so what message does this book send to young girls who might be in grade 3, 4? They are children. Let them grow up in their own time and stop pressuring them to be sexual so soon. In fact, some of the books filling our libraries make it seem simple or even cool to take puberty blockers and opposite sex hormones. The Other Boy by M.G. Hennessy.
Ms. Burjoski, I'm just getting a little concerned that your content may be problematic.
I too am getting a little bit concerned that the chair is concerned about this, especially when Carolyn is speaking facts and is just talking about the books. So this is going to heat up a little bit. Let's see what happens next.
I'm not sure exactly where you're headed, but I would caution you to make sure that you are not saying anything that would violate the Human Rights Code.
Oh, I'm not saying anything that would violate.
I'm just concerned, so please continue. That will not count against your time.
I hope that that I can be heard, because these are misleading books, and I'd like to tell you why. The other book by M.G. Hennessy chronicles the medical transition of Shane, who was born female and now identifies as a boy. Shane takes puberty blockers and is now excited to start testosterone. The doctor states that this hormone mixture will leave Shane infertile in the future. Shane's response is, "It's cool," a very typical adolescent response.
You know, that's pretty crazy. the fact that we have a book that says taking hormone blockers, especially when kids, they're just starting their life. They have no idea if they want to start a family or not. And of course, if you don't know something, you just don't know. So having a "that's cool" response, he has no context for what he wants. It's still a little child, right? And this is the kind of information that's being put out, and this is the kind of behavior that is being celebrated and applauded as brave. So let's continue, and I'm going to give you my thoughts a little bit more on these books right after. Let's go.
This book is misleading because it does not take into account how Shane might feel later in life about being infertile. Yep. This book makes very serious medical interventions seem like an easy cure for emotional and social distress. And
okay.
Remember,
so I'm going to have to
point of order.
I feel point out that the Ontario Human Rights Code includes gender identity and gender expression as grounds for discrimination, and I'm concerned that your comments are in violation of that.
Ontario Human Rights Code protects gender expression. And to be honest, Carolyn is just talking about these books. She's not infringing on anybody's rights. And unfortunately, this is the problem that I see with the school board, is they say they're tolerant, they want to be inclusive, but they're really not. They're very one-track minded when it comes to these issues, and very much our way or you're out, right? Let's continue with this.
Of order, I believe the delegation is talking about age appropriateness.
And I believe that it is a violation of policy.
Mr. Chair, also, that's a point of order. The delegation is sharing information that CSHES is in our schools. I think that's a stretch to say violation of the Human Rights Code for her to share what is, I believe, unless the director thinks it's not factually correct that these books are in our school, I think the speaker should be allowed to continue.
Yes.
So there is a process for challenging the ruling of the chair. If either of you wish to do that, we will put it to a vote.
All right. Then they put it to a vote, and Carolyn loses 5 votes to 4, and she gets kicked out of the meeting. Then right after this, the video is taken down, and an announcement is made. So I want to show you something. If you've noticed in the videos, by the way, Rick, there's 106 copies of this book in the school, and they've actually increased that amount to 107, so actually went up a little bit. And the other boy, there's 102 copies, so it's the same thing. There's 102 copies currently in the school, and I will say both of these books are ebooks as well, so anybody can access these books no matter where they are and how old they are. And like I said, these books are in elementary school, so obviously age is not a problem over here. So check this out. On January 20th, the Waterloo District School Board said, "We would like to express our deep regret for any harm caused to the transgender community. As a school board, we are guided by the Ontario Human Rights Code and committed to doing our best so that all students are affirmed in their identity and see themselves reflected in their learning environment. The board is committed to upholding the values and principles set out in the board's equity and inclusion policy and the board's human rights policy. The board is committed to providing a safe, inclusive environment free from inequity, discrimination, and harassment." The video of the meeting was not posted. as the board was concerned about potential violations to the code and to the harm that could affect our students, staff, and communities in Waterloo Region. This board has special powers, special abilities. If you've seen the movie Minority Report, where the premise of the movie is being able to stop crimes before they happen, it's the same thing. The chair has special abilities where he can see what's about to happen and potential violations, not even violations to the code, potential violations and harm that could affect our students and staff. All right. So something else that I wanted to bring to your attention is the director made an announcement on social media on Instagram. This was done on April 13th, 2022. And have a look at this image over here. If you see right beside the director, Rick and the other boy, both books are over there. So it seems to me like these books are indeed pushed by the school, and the director is very supportive of these books and the content and the message of these books. So after this, I want to show you something. We're going to go through these books over here. This book, this is Rick. So I'm just going to read you the kind of content that is in these books. I'm going to put a link below as well so you can view it yourself. I could already tell this is going to be an exciting year. Before we do anything, let's do a go around where we all introduce ourselves. In addition to sharing your name, grade, and preferred pronouns, right? So they're kind of going around in a circle, sharing. So Zoe was a girl with the patched up jean jacket. Hi, I'm Zoe. I'm in 8th grade and I'm bisexual. What? This is insane. My preferred pronouns are she and her, and I'm here because I think the LGBT rights are really important. Yeah, so I'm green and I'm in 6th grade and NB, whatever that means. Green saw some puzzled looks from around the room and clarified, NB from non-NB or non-binary. Okay. I'm in 6th grade and my pronouns are he and his, and I'm a straight guy as far as I can tell, but my moms are queer. I'm Layla. I'm in 6th grade and I use she and her, and I don't really know yet, but I've been doing a lot of reading and thinking, and I think I might be bisexual. Interesting. So all these kids, they're all minors, and they already know what they prefer sexually and who they're attracted to. If I saw this play out, I would be involving the police in this and wondering, how did these kids figure out their sexuality and who exposed these kids to sexual material? Let's have a look at the other boy. Let's read really quick over here. But once we add testosterone in the mix, he'll develop as a man. So this girl is changing from a girl to a boy. His voice will deepen. He'll get an Adam's apple and more body and facial hair. He'll become more muscular. But if he stops taking the shots, that's reversible too, right? Not entirely, Dr. Ann said. I could tell she was choosing her words carefully. Yeah, I bet she is. Some of the changes will be permanent. Others could be reversed surgically, or they'll just go away. I see. But Shane will have skipped female puberty, which means he most likely won't be able to have children naturally. I've been looking forward to this appointment for months. After brushing my teeth at night, I'd stand in front of the mirror and puff my chest out, imagining how I would look once I started testosterone. I'd flex my puny biceps and picture them doubling in size. I'd practice deepening my voice until it almost sounded like Dad's. So basically, these kids are getting chemically sterilized and potentially surgically sterilized as well if they go through with the procedures. These procedures have lifelong consequences, both physical, to put kids on puberty blockers and hormone and celebrate and empower this behavior is absolutely insane. And I can't believe this stuff is just accepted right now. And if you speak out against it, if you're saying this kind of behavior should not be appropriate, you're basically infringing on other people's rights. So then they stop you for that. So they infringe on your rights. You can't even speak about this, right? Of course, we all know it's a lie. You can't speak about it. And of course, this is what I'm doing in my videos. I'm just showing exactly the kind of materials and the kind of conversations that are happening behind our school walls with the kids. And I've said it before, secrecy, sexual discussions, disclosing sexual identity, sexual material, all of these combined, this is child abuse. And they're keeping parents out of the conversation. And if you have a look, episode 1, if you have a look at my delegation information, even the open letter, if you look through the policies and procedures, you will see that parents are out of the loop. And they have surveys asking kids, soliciting them to disclose their sexual orientation, gender identity, and this stuff is not okay. Doesn't matter if they, whatever phobia, whatever race, whatever thing they decide to call them, whatever minority group the board decides to hide behind, they need to come and they need to take responsibility for this kind of behavior. So Carolyn does have a lawsuit against the school board. So I'm going to share something with you over here. This is the judicial review notice of application to Divisional Court for judicial review. The applicant went on to express concerns about the age appropriateness of certain books which the board had placed in kindergarten through grade 6 classroom and libraries in connection with Transgender Awareness Week. She showed the board a passage from a book called Rick and made the following comments. Okay. Laura says, at this point, 4 minutes into the presentation, Chairperson Piatowski again interrupted the applicant and declared that he was ending her presentation because he was concerned that it might violate the Human Rights Code prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of gender identity and gender expression. That's right. He basically stopped the presentation for something that didn't even happen. This is the problem with the school board. They believe that they know better than everybody. They believe that they know better than parents. They believe that children should not be aware, should not disclose this information to parents, but yet children are encouraged to disclose their gender identity to staff, to teachers. And the school board seems to be above accountability. You know, they know better. They have information that apparently we cannot access, and they find it appropriate to have this kind of material available. So I put the entire video on my YouTube channel. You can watch it, and you can watch the board members discuss the presentation right after, and you can watch them vote. And I'm excited to see the resolution of the lawsuit, and I hope that freedom to speak is still something that people value. And links to these books are also going to be in the description. These books are ebooks as well, so they're available to anybody to access anywhere in the world on any computer. You got to log in with your student account. And these books are reading level 8 to 12, according to Barnes & Noble. And there's a lot more of these books in the school library, books with graphical content, to say the least. And as a parent, I am very concerned with the direction that the school board is heading in. I'm wondering if the school is running out of books, running out of materials to show kids. And I'm hoping that things will begin to change in a positive way. I'm hoping that the school will stop focusing so much on the sexuality of minors and their gender identity, and move back towards focusing on academics like math, English, science. And I believe that's what we need to focus on going forward. We need to make school great again and fun again for kids. And I'm all about that. Just educating kids, not indoctrinating them with this kind of material. Well, I appreciate you sticking around. Please check out the other videos that I've made. I have 2 podcast episodes that go into detail about the school books and school materials. And you can view my full delegation and my information and the information from my delegation that I put together to give you some context. And throughout my videos, I share screenshots with you. You can follow along to see exactly where I get my information and where all of this stuff is written down. Until next time, take care.